Hello, and thank you for joining us for this week's edition of It's Your City. I'm your host, Courtney Bloomer. Today's show is brought to you by Lone Mountain Veterinary Hospital, your hometown vet. For the best care for your pets in Carson City, visit Lone Mountain Veterinary Hospital. Our guest today is Richard Stokes. He's the superintendent of the Carson City School District. Welcome, Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, Courtney. Nice to be here.
It's great to have you back on the show. It's been a while. Carson City School District has been in session for a couple of months now. Things are really in full swing at the district. I know that this school district has had a lot of efforts to integrate the school and the community and really form some new partnerships. Tell us a little bit about how that's going in this school year.
It's going quite well. There's a couple of things that we've done. Going back several years, the school district's strategic plan was put together, and that was done with community input. So as we have developed these goals and strategies and objectives, all of those things have come together to build a direction for the school district. And we continue to meet monthly, and we've actually added one other thing that is pretty exciting, and that is a work-based learning coordinator. So knowing that the community has these tremendous opportunities for our students, being able to coordinate the schools with those partners has been critical, and we hope to see a lot more of that happening in the future.
Is there a partnership that really speaks to this, that's really exemplary, someone that you're working with or a particular project that really stands out?
Well, we have, I would say, some of our people from the manufacturing community, I should say, stand out as groups that are really interested in one, helping the school district being able to improve the workforce in the city, and then actually opening their doors to our students so that that's able to happen. I know ClickBond has been very helpful. Weinberg Machining has been very instrumental in working with us and opening doors for our students. Micro Manipulator, same kind of thing. Just local individuals who are trying to give of their knowledge, skills, and abilities to our students in hopes that some of our students might show interest in their organization, in their company, and who knows, one day go to work for them. But at the very least, we're able to take those abstract, maybe academic items, showing them how they apply in real life, and then letting the kids and the companies work together in a way that benefits both.
That real world experience is so important for students because that is a thing that's coming and already actually here in Northern Nevada is a lot of those manufacturing jobs, and creating students who are ready to step into those roles is really important.
Yes.
Partnerships are an important part of the community and something that the schools have really focused on. But another thing that has really become an important part of school is testing. The kids get tested a lot, I think.
We do.
Talk a little bit about what the testing is all about. Why are they doing this, and what is that a marker of?
Wow, that is a really big question. Testing in the way it's currently used has to do with school accountability. And as you know, we get our funding from the taxpayers. We service the students of our taxpayers, but it gets more than that as politicians get involved and they make decisions about how to show whether or not schools are meeting the mark. And so, unfortunately, the current way that is done is through a variety of tests. And those tests are generally high-stake tests. And so they impact not only the students, but they impact individual schools and then, of course, districts. And ultimately, all combined, they impact the state. And so from those test results, politicians and our public make assumptions about the schools and about the state. And from there, we use that data to help us improve or maybe to change our direction so that those test results are valid and reliable, and they indicate as well as they can the impact that schools are having on students.
Do you find that you have had to change the way things happen in Carson City School District as a result of these tests?
Well, not only that, but we also find that just because the state asks us to give tests or because the school gives high-stakes tests, it doesn't mean that all of our students or families want to participate. Now that's an interesting situation too, because the state says you have to give the test, but they also say that in some cases it's okay for families not to participate, and so it's a little hard to always follow what the expectations are in that regard. But they do help guide our curriculum. They guide the materials that we purchase. They guide the details that the teachers teach. So it's a big part of what we do these days. And the sad thing about it in my mind is there's a lot of time for testing, which takes away from learning other things. So some of that instructional time is lost due to increased testing.
Have you noticed like a difference in the students? I feel like they're being tested a lot. Do you think it's affecting them at all on an emotional level?
I'm sure there's some of that, absolutely. I like to think of me. You probably think the same way when you were a student. How would I react if I were taking these tests regularly? And it can be very emotionally trying on students. At the same time, some students like to show how well they can do and put their knowledge to the test, so to speak. But it's part of what we do these days. I think students take it in stride, and it's, like I say, just part of how the business is operated these days. Testing is a big part of going to school.
Big part of school these days. It's always been a big part, but the high stakes testing, I remember when I was in school, we only did like once a year. And it seems like now it's quite a bit more than that.
There's several different times during the school year when tests are taken. And of course, every academic institution wants to say, well, if our students started here, we want them to be able to move up.
Right, you want to show that.
And so in some ways there is some validity to that statement. And it's difficult, I think, for schools because not every teacher approaches their job in the same way. Not every student comes to school in the same situation. I mean, there are just so many variables that it's really difficult to say, we're going to take this test, which is a great equalizer, and all the kids should do a certain, have a certain outcome, and that's just generally not how it works.
Right. One thing that Carson City School District has been doing to help kind of, I guess, level the playing field for all students is your technology program to provide all of the kids with the equipment that they need to do research and have that technology. Tell us a little bit about that program. It's a few years in now. How is it working out for the district?
Sure. Yeah, thank you. The school district has provided Chromebooks, which is a laptop device that every student in grades 3 through 12 has their own. And so those machines are theirs to take home. They use them during the day. They really speak to the modern student's set of tools. In my day, we had slide rules. Sorry to say how old I am, but I think my generation was also the first to see handheld calculators, digital watches, and those kinds of things. But the world has changed significantly, and so the tools that are being used in business and industry today are also being used in the classroom. So our teachers are good users of the technology. We have in our kindergarten through second grade classroom sets. So even though we don't have a Chromebook for each of the students at those primary grades, we do have classroom sets. So they're still exposed to the technology. They have the opportunity to learn and use those tools during the school day. They just don't go home until the student is in the third grade.
All right.
Yeah, but it's a good program. They get a chance to learn the software. They get a chance to learn how to use those tools in doing research. They learn how to use them responsibly in society. So they're not using the technology inappropriately. Now, I can't say that never happens because students are interested in the world around them, but for the most part, our students are, like I say, learning how to use those machines responsibly and to use them for their intended purposes.
October is drawing to a close. We're coming up on Nevada Day. School is not going to be in session that day. We just want to remind everybody of that holiday that's coming up. They will be off on
It's October
Friday,
the 26th.
The 26th.
Mm-hmm. That's the state holiday. And yeah, it's a great time for the schools.
It's a fun time, and the following week, of course, is Halloween, and Trick or Treat will be taking place here in Carson City, and a lot of Carson City School District students will be out taking part in that too.
There's always lots of activities, and it's a fun time. As you mentioned, Halloween is celebrated in Carson City like no other place.
It really is.
And that's a lot of fun. And of course, the students get into the spirit of things, and as do our teachers. Nevada Day is a great day too, and you're right, the 26th of October is no school that day.
No school that day. All right, this school year off to a great start. Quite a ways yet to go in the 2018-2019 school year. What are you most looking forward to? What would be your biggest goal for the rest of the school year?
Well, obviously that academics keep moving forward. This is an important time in all of our students' lives, and being prepared for whatever their next step is. The new desires in education is to make sure that our students are not only college ready but also career ready. And so that takes into account anybody who may not think that college is their thing right now, but maybe they want to go right into the world of work. And so having the knowledge and the soft skills and the attributes that employers are looking for if someone wants to go right into the world of work, or maybe a post-secondary training of a different kind, maybe a trade school or an apprenticeship, something like that. Our desires is to make sure that we provide our students with those kinds of skills so that they can be successful in whatever they do. So yeah, just hitting that stride, making sure that people are taking their assignments seriously, working hard, using the resources that they have, whether it's their teacher, whether it's electronic mechanisms, whether it's parents. We learn every day in a lot of different situations, and that's our goal, is to do our jobs well and hopefully pass that same interest of learning on to our students.
All right. Thank you, Richard Stokes, Superintendent of the Carson City School District. We're happy to have you here today.
It's my pleasure, Courtney. It's always nice to see you.
All right, and thanks to all of you for joining us for this week's edition of It's Your City, brought to you by Lone Mountain Veterinary Hospital. Lone Mountain Veterinary Hospital is located here in Carson City and provides excellent care to your pets. If your business is interested in sponsoring a future edition of It's Your City, please contact Darla at the address shown on your screen. I'm Courtney Bloomer. We'll see you next week.